Get out of my way, you useless blind freak! Derek Martinez's voice explodes across the downtown Portland Plaza. Without warning, he shoves Maya Thompson hard in the chest, sending the 22-year-old black woman crashing to her knees on the rough concrete. Her white cane flies from her grip. Derek stomps on it with his polished leather shoe, the crack echoing like a gunshot. Look at this pathetic thing crawling around. He grabs Maya's hair, yanking her head up toward his phone camera. This is what happens when society coddles the defective. Maya's sunglasses hang crooked. Blood trickles from her scraped palms. The crowd gasps, but no one moves to help. Derek releases her hair with a dismissive flick, watching her collapse forward. But he missed the way her breathing never changed. How her muscles coiled despite the fall. How her fingers found the concrete like a predator testing the hunting ground. 15 years of weaponized survival just got triggered. Have you ever humiliated someone so completely that you accidentally unleashed your own destruction? Maya Thompson's alarm screams at 4:30 every morning, but she's already awake. Her small studio apartment near Portland University sits in deliberate darkness. Blackout curtains block every hint of dawn light. For Maya, darkness isn't a barrier. It's her natural element. Her fingertips trace the familiar path from bed to bathroom to kitchen. Coffee brews while she laces up worn combat boots that have absorbed years of sweat and determination. The same boots that carried her through a childhood most people couldn't survive. She was 8 when the school bullies first discovered their favorite target. A useless blind girl can't even find the bathroom. Their voices still echo in her memory. They'd push her down stairwells, steal her lunch money, and lock her in empty classrooms. Her cane became their favorite weapon, yanking it away, hiding it, breaking it for sport. Maya's mother, Diane, wanted to wrap her daughter in protective bubble wrap forever. Her father, Marcus, believed homeschooling would shield her from the world's cruelty. They meant well, but their solution was a prison sentence disguised as love. Everything changed when Maya turned 12. 3 teenage boys cornered her on Elm Street, 2 blocks from home. They knocked her to the ground, kicked her ribs until she tasted blood, and stole the grocery money her mother had trusted her to carry. Maya crawled home with a split lip and bruised spirit, but something inside her had crystallized into pure resolve. "Please don't make me live like this forever," she begged her parents that night. Against every parental instinct, they helped her find Carlos Ramirez. The former Marine ran a rundown gym where broken people came to rebuild themselves. Carlos initially refused to train a blind 13-year-old girl. Too much liability, too much risk. But Maya sat outside his gym for 3 consecutive days, rain or shine, until his conscience surrendered to her determination. The first months were brutal education in controlled violence. Maya fell constantly. Her knuckles bled from heavy bag work. Other students mocked the blind girl pretending to fight. Carlos pushed her harder than anyone, his philosophy carved from military necessity. Your enemies won't go easy because you're disabled. Neither will I. While her former classmates attended birthday parties and school dances, Maya chose the gym. 5 a.m. training sessions before most people considered consciousness. Late-night sessions when everyone else had gone home. Her social life became a sacrifice on the altar of never being helpless again. Her parents fought constantly about whether this obsession was healthy. Diane worried her daughter was becoming too aggressive. Marcus feared she'd get seriously injured pursuing impossible dreams. Neither understood that Maya wasn't learning to fight. She was learning to survive. The breakthrough came at 16 when Tommy Rodriguez, an 18-year-old gym regular, decided to teach the blind girl her place. He outweighed Maya by 60 pounds and possessed the casual cruelty of someone who'd never faced real consequences. The sparring session lasted 30 seconds. Tommy found himself on the mat 3 times, each takedown more humiliating than the last. Word spread through the gym like wildfire. The blind girl was dangerous. Suddenly, Maya wasn't invisible anymore. she was feared. 9 years later, Maya works part-time at the East Side Community Center, teaching self-defense to women and children. Her students call her Coach Maya, with the reverence reserved for those who've transformed pain into purpose. But despite her skills, she remains cautious about using them. Every confrontation carries the weight of racial and disability stereotypes. Society expects her to be either helpless or aggressive, never competent and controlled. She walks this tightrope daily, knowing that defending herself might confirm people's worst assumptions about angry black women or dangerous disabled people. Derek Martinez represents everything Maya has spent 15 years preparing to face. He's the entitled predator who mistakes kindness for weakness, difference for deficiency. His expensive suit and practiced cruelty mark him as the type of person who's never faced consequences for his actions. But Derek made one critical miscalculation in that plaza. He assumed Maya's blindness meant helplessness, not knowing that her other senses had been sharpened into weapons of precision. 2 days after the plaza humiliation, Maya exits Cafe Luna with her usual Tuesday morning coffee. The familiar weight of her messenger bag hangs across her shoulder as her cane taps its steady rhythm against the sidewalk. She's mapped every crack and curve of this route through thousands of repetitions. Derek spots her from across Pine Street. "Holy shit, it's her again." His voice carries the excitement of a predator recognizing easy prey. Phone already in hand, he launches his live stream with practiced showmanship. "Guys, remember the blind girl from Tuesday? Time for round 2. The notification alerts ping immediately. His followers flood the chat with fire emojis and encouragement. Derek feeds off their digital bloodlust like a vampire absorbing life force. Maya's enhanced hearing catches every word. Her grip tightens on the cane handle as Derek's footsteps approach with deliberate aggression. Every instinct Carlos trained into her screams danger assessments. Derek's breathing pattern suggests adrenaline. His gait shows confidence. 3 additional sets of footsteps mean backup. "Let's see if she learned her lesson about staying in her lane," Derek announces to his phone camera, positioning himself directly in Maya's path. The first block is subtle harassment. Derek steps left when Maya steps left, right when she goes right, forcing her to constantly recalibrate her navigation. His followers' comments scroll past in real-time encouragement. "Make her dance." "Show her who's boss." "Blind privilege needs checking." Maya attempts de-escalation. "Please, just let me pass. I'm not bothering anyone." Her calm voice only inflames Derek's performance. "Oh, she talks." "Tell my audience why blind people deserve special treatment, sweetheart. Explain why society should accommodate your defects." The systematic cruelty escalates. Derek forces Maya to stumble into a newspaper stand, then a fire hydrant, then a parked bicycle. Each collision draws laughter from his crew and digital applause from his streaming audience. Maya's muscle memory catalogs every detail. Derek's cologne masks nervous sweat. His phone case has a distinctive texture. His friends hang back slightly followers, not leaders. Her tactical mind builds a complete profile while her public face maintains careful composure. The breaking point arrives when Derek grabs her upper arm and spins her toward his camera. "Dance for us, blind girl! Show everyone how helpless you really are." Maya's hand instinctively finds his wrist. 15 years of training calculate pressure points, leverage angles, escape routes. For one electric moment, she's 12 years old again, helpless and bleeding on Elm Street. Then Carlos's voice echoes from memory. "Control the violence. Don't let it control you." Maya pulls back and walks away, leaving Derek drunk on apparent victory. Derek's second video explodes across social media like a digital wildfire. Within 6 hours, Blind Girl Gets Reality Check Part 2 accumulated 75,000 views and counting. The comments section becomes a cesspool of celebration and encouragement for more content. "This is comedy gold," types at Alpha Hunter 2024. Someone finally showing these entitled freaks their place. Derek basks in the algorithmic approval from his corner office at Morrison & Associates law firm. His mahogany desk overlooks downtown Portland while notifications cascade across his phone screen like slot machine jackpots. Each like, share, and comment feeds his growing conviction that he's performing essential public service. His girlfriend, Ashley Martinez, enters with lunch, her expression troubled. "Derek, honey, maybe you should ease up on this blind girl thing. It's getting kind of mean." Derek waves dismissively, not looking up from his engagement metrics. "Mean? I'm exposing society's fake virtue signaling, Ash. People need to see reality instead of politically correct bullshit. Someone has to tell the truth about how these people manipulate sympathy for special treatment." Ashley's discomfort deepens, but Derek's already planning his next move. His followers demand escalation, and Derek never disappoints his audience. Meanwhile, Maya's world begins crumbling with surgical precision. The harassment campaign spreads beyond Derek's direct actions into coordinated digital warfare. His followers reverse engineer Maya's identity from background details in the videos. Soon, they're flooding the Eastside Community Center's Google reviews with fabricated complaints about their dangerous and unstable instructor. "Maya Thompson attacked my daughter during a self-defense class," lies one review. "This woman is clearly violent and shouldn't be around children." "Blind instructor can't even see what she's teaching," posts another. "How is this place still operating?" Patricia Williams, the center's nervous director, calls Maya into her cramped office Tuesday morning. The older black woman wrings her hands while avoiding eye contact. A manila folder thick with printed complaints spread across her desk. "Maya, sweetie, I need you to take some temporary leave, just until this whole internet thing blows over." The betrayal hits Maya like a physical blow. "Patricia, you know those reviews are fake. You've seen my work with these kids for 3 years. "I know, baby, I know. But the board is worried about liability. Parents are asking questions. Maybe it's best if you step back for a while." Maya walks home in a fog of disbelief, her 15-year journey from victim to protector seemingly erased by digital mob justice. The systematic campaign intensifies daily. Derek's crew studies Maya's routine with military precision grocery store visits, gym sessions, bus stop schedules. They don't touch her directly, instead creating a psychological pressure cooker designed to break her spirit. At the supermarket, Derek's followers block the accessible checkout lanes while discussing loudly how blind people shouldn't shop alone. It's a safety hazard for everyone else. They move tactile pathway guides, relocate accessible parking signs, create obstacles specifically designed to humiliate Maya's navigation attempts. Sleep deprivation begins affecting everything. Maya's enhanced hearing, usually an asset, becomes a liability as she processes every whispered comment, every phone camera clicking, every cruel laugh. Her appetite disappears. Dark circles form under her sunglasses. Jessica Carter, her 12-year-old student, notices Maya's absence from Thursday's self-defense class. When the girl asks her mother why Coach Maya isn't teaching anymore, Mrs. Carter shows her Derek's viral videos. "Maybe it's better if you don't take those classes anymore, honey." That woman seems troubled. Another connection severed. Another life Derek's campaign has poisoned. Maya's parents, Diane and Marcus, arrive unannounced Friday evening with intervention-level concern etched across their faces. They've seen the videos, read the comments, witnessed their daughter's public humiliation broadcast for entertainment. "Baby, maybe it's time to come home," Diane pleads, her voice thick with maternal anguish. "We can protect you from this madness." Marcus, typically the family's emotional fortress, barely contains his rage. "I should never have let you train with that crazy Marine. This is exactly what we feared would happen. Violence breeds violence. Their solution feels like childhood imprisonment repackaged as adult concern." Maya realizes she's fighting battles on multiple fronts: Derek's public campaign, institutional betrayal, and family pressure to surrender the strength she's spent 15 years building. Carlos finds her at the gym near midnight, beating the heavy bag until her knuckles bleed through hand wraps. Her combinations flow with frightening intensity, each strike carrying the weight of accumulated frustration and suppressed rage. "You're not that scared little girl anymore," he says quietly, watching her technique with professional assessment. "But you're still letting them make you feel like her." Maya's hands finally stop moving. "What if they're right, Carlos? What if I am just an angry black woman looking for excuses to hurt people? You think those bullies from your childhood are watching these videos? You think they're cheering for Derek?" Carlos steps closer, his voice carrying the authority of someone who's survived real warfare. "Evil wins when good people do nothing. You've spent 15 years preparing for this exact moment, and now you want to quit because it's hard." The escalation reaches its breaking point when Derek begins following Maya home, posting her address in his private Discord server. His most devoted followers start appearing at her apartment building, taking photos, live streaming blind girl watch content from the street. Maya's landlord, Mr. Petrov, receives anonymous calls claiming she's operating an illegal fight club from her studio apartment. Neighbors avoid eye contact in hallways. Children point and whisper when she passes. Derek, drunk on viral success and algorithmic validation, plans his final confrontation, a grand public humiliation designed to drive Maya permanently out of Portland while cementing his status as an internet celebrity. But Derek has made one fatal miscalculation in his systematic campaign of terror. He assumes Maya's restraint represents weakness rather than discipline, never realizing that 15 years of tactical training includes psychological warfare, pattern recognition, and strategic patience. The hunter is about to discover he's been studying his prey while she's been studying him. Carlos drives Maya to his rural training compound 40 miles outside Portland, the same isolated facility where broken people come to rebuild themselves into something stronger. Maya hasn't been here since her darkest teenage years, when rage threatened to consume everything Carlos had taught her about control. The memories flood back as gravel crunches under their tires. Age 15, after a particularly brutal sparring session that left her questioning everything. She'd collapsed in the dirt, sobbing, "I'll never be normal, Carlos. I'll always be the disabled girl who has to fight twice as hard for half the respect." Carlos had knelt beside her that day, his voice cutting through her despair like a blade through silk. "Normal is overrated, mija. Extraordinary is earned through exactly this kind of pain." Now, 3 days of intensive preparation await. Not just physical conditioning, but psychological warfare training that most people never need. Carlos brings in Jason Williams, a 20-something tech wizard from the community center who understands the digital battlefield better than anyone. Derek's weakness is his narcissism, Jason explains, laptop screens glowing in the cabin's dim light. He can't resist bigger audiences, more dramatic content. We use that against him. Maya studies Derek's posting patterns, comment engagement, follower psychology. Every tactical lesson Carlos ever taught her applies here. Use their strength against them. Control the battlefield. Choose when and where to engage. The strategy crystallizes. Make Derek overconfident, sloppy, desperate for content that will expose his true nature to the world. This isn't about revenge, Carlos emphasizes during their final planning session. It's about teaching consequences to someone who's never faced them. Maya posts an emotional video that night, tears streaming down her face as she describes considering leaving Portland permanently. The performance is calculated perfection, vulnerable enough to trigger Derek's predatory instincts, defeated enough to make him believe victory is within reach. Derek takes the bait immediately, his response posted within minutes. Finally! Someone's learning their place in society. For the first time since childhood, Maya isn't running from a fight. She's an engineer. Saturday's Waterfront Festival draws thousands to Tom McCall Park. Food trucks line the river while families spread blankets across the grass. Live music drifts from multiple stages as Portland celebrates another perfect weekend afternoon. Derek arrives with professional equipment-stabilized camera, wireless microphone, his three-man crew positioning themselves strategically throughout the crowd. Today's performance requires cinema-quality production values for maximum viral impact. "What's up, reality warriors?" Derek addresses his live stream audience, follower count climbing past 15,000 active viewers. "Today we're giving our favorite blind girl one final chance to prove she's not completely useless. Think of it as community service." Maya appears near the fountain exactly as Derek predicted. Her Sunday routine never varies: coffee, farmer's market, riverside walk home. But today, she's walking into a carefully orchestrated ambush designed to break her spirit permanently. Derek's heart rate spikes with predatory excitement. His followers flood the chat with fire emojis and bloodthirsty encouragement. Comments scroll past in real-time validation. "Destroy her. Show these fakes reality. Make her cry again." Maya's enhanced senses map the tactical situation instantly. Derek's cologne mixed with nervous sweat. 3 additional heartbeats positioning themselves in a loose triangle around her. Phone cameras recording from multiple angles. Dozens of civilian witnesses creating natural barriers to escape routes. Her pulse remains steady at 60 beats per minute, exactly where Carlos trained it to stay during combat situations. "Hey everyone, gather round!" Derek's voice booms across the festival grounds. "Let's see if our entitled blind friend has learned any humility since our last encounter." A crowd forms naturally, phones emerging like weapons as people sense impending entertainment. Derek's crew ensures Maya is surrounded, creating a human coliseum for maximum audience engagement. "I'm giving you a chance to redeem yourself," Derek announces with theatrical magnanimity. "Prove you're not completely helpless. Show these people you deserve the special treatment society gives you." Maya's breathing remains controlled, but something shifts in her posture. 15 years of training whisper tactical assessments. Derek's stance shows overconfidence. His friends hang back like followers, not leaders. His phone grip is loose and vulnerable. "I just want to go home," Maya says quietly, her voice carrying just enough tremor to feed Derek's ego. "See? This is what I'm talking about." Derek addresses his camera like a seasoned performer. "Always playing the victim, never taking responsibility for—" He shoves Maya hard in the chest, expecting her to crumble like every previous encounter. Instead, Maya absorbs the impact like water accepting a stone. Her feet stay planted. Her balance never wavers. Derek's momentum carries him slightly forward, off-center and vulnerable. "Is that your best?" Maya asks, her voice carrying 15 years of controlled violence. The crowd's energy shifts. People sense something fundamental has changed in the dynamic. Phone cameras focus with laser intensity as Derek's confident expression flickers into confusion. Derek lunges forward, throwing a wild haymaker fueled by embarrassment and rage. Maya slips inside his guard like smoke given form. Her hand finds his wrist with surgical precision, redirecting his energy and momentum into a physics lesson about leverage and consequence. Derek flips through the air, landing hard on concrete with a sound that silences the entire crowd. Rewatch, moment number 1. The reversal. Maya stands over Derek's sprawled form, perfectly balanced and not even breathing hard. Her stance radiates controlled power that makes everyone within 50 feet unconsciously step backward. This isn't the helpless victim from Derek's videos. This is a predator who's been hiding in plain sight. "You wanted to see if I was helpless," Maya says, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. "Now you know." Derek's 3 friends rush her simultaneously, their loyalty to their leader overriding tactical wisdom. This is where 15 years of training transforms into choreographed violence. The first attacker receives an elbow to his solar plexus that drops him gasping to his knees. Maya's movement flows like water into the second man's approach, her knee finding his thigh with precision that crumples his leg instantly. The third hesitates just long enough to watch his friends fall before backing away with hands raised in surrender. The entire sequence lasts 8 seconds. Maya never looks rushed, never appears angry, never loses control. Each movement flows from muscle memory built through years of pain and repetition. She's not fighting. She's demonstrating the difference between violence and precision. The crowd erupts in stunned amazement. Every phone camera captures the impossible transformation from victim to victor. People recognize they've witnessed something extraordinary, not random brutality, but justice delivered with surgical accuracy. Derek struggles to his feet, his expensive suit torn and dirty, his ego shattered alongside his nose. Blood streams down his face as he attempts to maintain his narrative. "She attacked me. You all saw it. I was just talking and she—" "You shoved her first, asshole!" shouts a witness. "We all saw you start it." "Someone call the cops." Derek screams desperately. "This crazy bitch assaulted me." But the crowd's sympathy has evaporated. Derek's own phone captured every moment of his aggression, his provocation, his humiliating defeat. The truth is documented from dozens of angles in high-definition clarity. Portland police arrive within minutes, expecting to arrest Maya for assault. Instead, they find a crime scene where the evidence overwhelmingly supports self-defense. Witness statements uniformly describe Derek as the aggressor, Maya as the reluctant defender. Detective Sarah Carter reviews Derek's own live stream footage while Derek rants about conspiracy and setup. The video shows clear provocation, physical assault, and proportionate response. Case closed before it begins. Within 2 hours, Maya's reversal clips spread across every social media platform like digital wildfire. Maya knows her worth trends nationally as millions share the footage of someone finally standing up to Derek's brand of systematic cruelty. The original video accumulated 2 million views in 24 hours. Comment sections flip from Derek's usual supporters to people celebrating Maya's victory and sharing their own bullying survival stories. The narrative has shifted permanently. Derek limps home to discover his sponsors fleeing, his follower count plummeting, and his law firm requesting an emergency meeting about his concerning extracurricular activities. For the first time in his privileged life, Derek faces real consequences for his actions. But Maya's victory celebration will be short-lived, because Derek's humiliation is about to trigger a legal counterattack that threatens to destroy everything she's built. Derek Martinez sits in the chrome and glass conference room of Blackstone and Associates, Portland's most aggressive litigation firm. His face still bears purple bruises from Maya's precision strikes, but his real wounds run deeper. His social media empire lies in ruins. His legal career hangs by a thread, and his carefully constructed online persona has crumbled into digital ash. Attorney Rebecca Thornton studies the viral footage with predatory focus. Her reputation was built on impossible cases, turning victims into villains through narrative manipulation and legal technicalities. "This is actually perfect," Thornton declares, her smile sharp as surgical steel. "We flip the script completely. You become the victim of a premeditated assault by a trained fighter who deliberately concealed her abilities." Derek's eyes light with desperate hope. "You can make this work?" "Derek, you're an innocent citizen who tried to help a disabled person navigate safely." Her violent response was so disproportionate, it suggests premeditation. "The question isn't whether she attacked you. It's why a trained martial artist was pretending to be helpless." The legal strategy crystallizes with mathematical precision. Thornton files assault charges while simultaneously launching a civil suit for damages. The narrative reframes Maya's 15 years of training as evidence of calculated deception rather than admirable perseverance. Maya receives the court summons on a Tuesday morning that feels like the universe collapsing. The charges list aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, her own body classified as a lethal instrument due to her extensive training. Detective Carter arrives at Maya's apartment with genuine regret etched across her weathered features. "Maya, I'm sorry." The prosecutor believes Derek's team has enough evidence to proceed. They're arguing your martial arts background makes this different from typical self-defense. The irony cuts deeper than any physical wound. Maya's strength, the very quality that saved her from Derek's humiliation, now becomes evidence of her guilt. Thornton's media blitz begins immediately. Press conferences painting Derek as an innocent victim of reverse racism and disability fraud. Local news stations run segments questioning why someone who appears helpless needs extensive combat training. Ladies and gentlemen, Thornton addresses the cameras with practiced sincerity. My client approached Ms. Thompson with genuine concern for her safety. Her response was swift, calculated violence that could have killed him. We must ask ourselves, what kind of person trains for years in deadly combat while presenting themselves as vulnerable? Public opinion fractures along predictable lines. Derek's original supporters rally around their fallen hero, flooding social media with #StandWithDerek hashtags and conspiracy theories about Maya's professional victim status. Maya's family arrives for another intervention, their faces etched with familiar terror. Diane clutches her daughter's hands like anchors in a storm. Baby, maybe it's time to take the plea deal. Just apologize, do some community service, and this nightmare ends. Marcus's voice breaks with paternal anguish. I should have stopped Carlos from training you. Violence only breeds more violence. Now look at what's happened. Their solution feels like childhood imprisonment repackaged as adult protection. Maya realizes her family's love comes with conditions. They'll support her as long as she remains the helpless daughter who needs saving, not the capable woman who saves herself. The prosecution's case builds on Maya's perceived advantages. District Attorney Williams presents evidence that Maya's blindness, rather than limiting her abilities, actually enhanced her other senses into what he terms unfair combat advantages. Miss Thompson didn't just defend herself, she deployed 15 years of weapons training against an untrained civilian, Williams argues during a pre-trial hearing. Her response was calculated, excessive, and designed to cause maximum humiliation. Maya's court-appointed defender, overwhelmed public attorney James Rodriguez, suggests a plea bargain that would require anger management classes, a restraining order, and 6 months community service. We avoid the circus trial. You get your life back, he advises with weary pragmatism. But Carlos refuses to let Maya surrender. You think those bullies from your childhood would take a plea deal? You think Derek deserves mercy he never showed you? The systematic legal attack expands beyond criminal charges. Thornton subpoenas Maya's therapy records from childhood trauma counseling, her financial statements, her training logs with Carlos. Every aspect of her life becomes evidence in a character assassination designed to portray her as a dangerous fraud. Derek's rehabilitation tour begins with sympathetic podcast appearances and YouTube interviews. He positions himself as a free speech martyr attacked by woke culture for speaking uncomfortable truths about society's enabling of professional victims. I was trying to help her, Derek explains to the nodding hosts, his voice carrying a perfectly practiced vulnerability. When someone appears lost or confused in public, don't we have a moral obligation to offer assistance? Her response shocked me. I've never experienced such calculated aggression. Book deals emerge. Speaking engagements at men's rights conferences. Derek transforms his humiliation into a lucrative victim narrative that resonates with audiences who feel threatened by changing social dynamics. Maya's world continues crumbling with surgical precision. The community center permanently terminates her employment. Former students' parents demand refunds for classes. Her landlord receives anonymous complaints about dangerous individuals living in his building. Even her gym membership faces scrutiny. Other members petition management about allowing violent individuals access to training facilities. Carlos fights the discrimination, but Maya withdraws from the spaces that once provided sanctuary. The isolation becomes a weapon itself. Former allies distance themselves to avoid association with someone facing criminal charges. Social media mentions of Maya's name attract legal threats from Thornton's firm. The digital mob that once celebrated her victory now questions whether they supported the wrong person. Maya spends sleepless nights replaying every moment of the confrontation, wondering if she could have de-escalated differently. The second guessing corrodes her confidence like acid on steel. Maybe Derek was right. Maybe she is just an angry black woman looking for excuses to hurt people. The trial date approaches like an execution. Maya faces the possibility of prison time, permanent criminal record, and complete destruction of the life she's spent 15 years building. Derek's legal team has successfully reframed the victim as aggressor, self-defense as premeditated assault. But Derek has made one critical error in his legal warfare campaign. He assumes Maya's restraint in the plaza represented the full extent of her capabilities, never realizing that controlled violence requires more training than explosive rage. The hunter is about to discover that his prey has been holding back more than he could possibly imagine. The Multnomah County Courthouse feels like a gladiatorial arena as Maya enters for the trial that will determine her fate. Media trucks line the street while protesters clash on the courthouse steps. Justice for Derek signs wave alongside #Maya knows her worth banners in a visual representation of a society divided by competing narratives of victimhood and justice. Maya remembers every courtroom scene from her youth custody hearings about her best interests, school disciplinary meetings where adults decided her future while she sat silent and powerless. Today feels like the culmination of every moment she's been judged, dismissed, or underestimated. Derek arrives in a wheelchair, his injuries dramatically amplified for maximum sympathy. His neck brace seems professionally fitted for courtroom theater. Thornton has coached him into the perfect image of an innocent victim destroyed by unprovoked violence. Judge Patricia Hoffman calls the packed courtroom to order. Cameras aren't allowed inside, but sketch artists capture every moment for evening news coverage. The jury 8 women, 4 men, representing Portland's diverse demographic studies, both defendant and plaintiff, with expressions that reveal nothing. Derek's testimony unfolds like an Oscar-worthy performance. His voice breaks with practiced vulnerability as he describes his genuine concern for Maya's safety in the busy plaza. "I saw her struggling to navigate the crowd," Derek explains, dabbing his eyes with tissue. "As a decent human being, I felt obligated to offer assistance. I never imagined such kindness would trigger such violent rage." Thornton guides him through the narrative with surgical precision. Derek becomes the Good Samaritan punished for caring, the innocent victim of reverse discrimination and weaponized disability status. "Her attack was swift, calculated, and designed for maximum damage," Derek continues, his voice strengthening with righteous indignation. "I've never experienced such controlled aggression. It was terrifying." The prosecution presents Maya's extensive training records as evidence of premeditation. 15 years of martial arts becomes proof of dangerous intent rather than admirable perseverance. Her blindness transforms from disability into unfair tactical advantage. Miss Thompson didn't just defend herself, District Attorney Williams argues to the jury. She deployed years of weapons training against an untrained civilian who was trying to help her. Her response was excessive, calculated, and completely disproportionate to any perceived threat. Maya's court-appointed defender, James Rodriguez, seems overwhelmed by the media circus and legal firepower arrayed against his client. His opening statement lacks passion. His cross-examination feels perfunctory. Maya realizes she's fighting this battle essentially alone. But Jason Williams has been working through the night in ways the legal system never anticipated. As Derek's testimony concludes, Jason's digital forensics team uncovers Derek's private Discord server, the hidden community where his most devoted followers planned coordinated harassment campaigns. Screenshots reveal conversations from the night of the plaza confrontation that paint a very different picture of Derek's motivations. "Phase 1, complete blind bitch properly humiliated," reads one message. "Phase 2 tomorrow. Drive her out of Portland permanently." Another thread discusses escalation tactics and psychological pressure points with the clinical detachment of military strategists planning civilian targeting operations. Maya takes the stand on day 3, her voice steady despite the weight of cameras and hostile stares. Instead of apologizing or justifying her actions, she owns her story completely. "I learned to fight because I refused to remain helpless," Maya testifies, her words carrying 15 years of accumulated strength. "Every technique I used that day was designed to stop the threat with minimum necessary force. I didn't want to hurt Derek. I wanted him to stop hurting me." The courtroom atmosphere shifts as Maya describes not just the plaza confrontation, but the systematic campaign of harassment that preceded it. Her address posted online, followers appearing at her apartment, workplace harassment designed to destroy her livelihood. "Derek didn't accidentally encounter me in that plaza," Maya continues, her voice gaining power with each word. "He hunted me like prey, filmed it for entertainment, and profited from my humiliation. When I finally refused to be his victim, he used the legal system to continue the abuse." Judge Hoffman requests a demonstration of the techniques Maya used. In a controlled courtroom environment, Maya shows the precise defensive movements, nothing excessive, everything necessary. "I used exactly enough force to stop the threat," Maya explains, her movements flowing with liquid precision. "No more, no less. That's what 15 years of discipline teaches you. Control, not rage." Rewatch moment. Number 2. The evidence revelation. Jason enters the courtroom with laptop and projection equipment, his digital evidence about to detonate Derek's carefully constructed narrative. The Discord screenshots appear on the courtroom screens like nuclear explosions. Derek's private messages reveal premeditated planning, coordination with followers, and discussion of escalation tactics designed to drive Maya to desperation. His innocent concern was actually calculated psychological warfare. "Destroy the blind bitch" appears in Derek's own words, time-stamped hours before their plaza encounter. Derek's mask begins slipping as the evidence mounts. Confronted with his own digital trail, his composed victim persona cracks like fractured glass. "Those messages are taken out of context," Derek explodes, his wheelchair performance forgotten as he lunges forward. "These people get everything handed to them. Disabled parking, government benefits, special treatment. Someone has to show them reality." Rewatch moment number 3, Derek's psychological breakdown. The courtroom erupts as Derek's true personality emerges like poison from a burst abscess. His practiced vulnerability transforms into entitled rage, his victim narrative dissolving into the toxic worldview that motivated his harassment campaign. "I was performing a public service," Derek screams, spittle flying as his composure completely disintegrates. "These fake disabled people manipulate society's sympathy for special privileges. I exposed the truth." Judge Hoffman's gavel pounds repeatedly as bailiffs move to restrain Derek, whose outburst has just provided more evidence than any prosecutor could have hoped for. More victims emerge as news coverage spreads. Police reports Derek's legal team couldn't suppress. Digital forensics showing years of targeting vulnerable individuals for content creation. A pattern of predatory behavior that makes Maya's case look like the tip of a massive iceberg. Maya's final statement crystallizes everything. 15 years ago, I was a scared little girl who got beaten up and couldn't fight back. I spent every day since then making sure I'd never be helpless again. Not because I wanted to hurt people, but because I refused to let people hurt me. The jury deliberates for less than 3 hours. Guilty verdicts on all harassment charges against Derek. Complete exoneration for Maya on all assault allegations. But more importantly, Maya faces herself in that courthouse mirror and sees not a victim or an aggressor, but a protector who finally stood up when standing up was necessary. Derek's legal career dies in that courtroom alongside his victim narrative, but Maya's real victory isn't his destruction. It's her own transformation from someone who fights because she has to, into someone who fights because others need protecting too. The courthouse steps erupt in celebration as Maya emerges into Portland's golden afternoon light. News crews surge forward while supporters chant her name, but Maya moves through the chaos with the same controlled grace she's shown throughout this ordeal. No victory dance, no emotional outburst, just quiet dignity earned through 15 years of discipline. Detective Carter approaches with a rare smile creasing her weathered features. Maya, I've got some news you'll want to hear. 3 more victims came forward during the trial. Derek's facing federal charges for coordinated online harassment. This case is going to change how we prosecute digital stalking. Derek's world disintegrates with mathematical precision. Morrison and Associates terminates his employment before the jury even returns their verdict. His law license faces suspension pending ethics review. The book deal evaporates overnight as publishers flee from association with his exposed toxicity. Maya returns to the East Side Community Center like a conquering hero. Patricia Williams meets her at the entrance, tears streaming down her face as she embraces the woman she'd abandoned during the darkest hours. I'm sorry, baby. I should have stood by you when you needed support most. Patricia's voice breaks with genuine remorse. Your job is waiting, with a raise and full benefits. We want you to design a new program self-defense for anyone who's ever felt powerless. The waiting room overflows with students old and new. Jessica Carter rushes forward, her mother close behind with apologetic eyes. Coach Maya! I never stopped practicing the moves you taught me. Mom says I can come back to classes. Parents who previously pulled their children from Maya's programs now beg for enrollment. Her waiting list grows to over 200 names as word spreads about the instructor who doesn't just teach fighting techniques, but transforms victims into survivors. Carlos arrives with news that brings tears to Maya's eyes. The gym's been flooded with calls, minutes. Veterans, abuse survivors, disabled folks. Everyone wants to train where Maya Thompson learned to stand up. We're opening 3 new locations just to handle demand. Maya's family reconciliation feels like emotional surgery healing old wounds. Her parents arrive with flowers and shame-faced apologies that carry the weight of years of misunderstanding. We thought we were protecting you by keeping you weak, Diane confesses, her voice thick with regret. You protected yourself by getting strong. I'm sorry it took us so long to understand. Marcus, the family's former skeptic, watches Maya work with students and finally comprehends what his daughter built from childhood trauma. Carlos didn't just teach you to fight, he taught you to heal. I see that now. The movement spreads beyond Portland's borders like wildfire through dry timber. # Defend Yourself hashtags trend nationally as Maya's story inspires similar programs in dozens of cities. Self-defense instructors across the country report unprecedented enrollment from disabled individuals who finally see representation in strength rather than helplessness. Derek's complete downfall unfolds with poetic justice. His expensive downtown apartment gets foreclosed when legal fees consume his savings. Former friends abandon him as his toxic worldview becomes public knowledge. Ashley leaves him with a scathing departure letter. I fell in love with someone I thought was confident. I discovered I was dating a predator. Maya's first interview since the trial airs on local television, her message spreading far beyond Portland's boundaries. I didn't learn to fight because I loved violence. I learned to fight because I loved myself too much to stay a victim. That's a choice available to everyone. The community center's new wing bears Maya's name on a bronze plaque that reads, Maya Thompson, Self-Defense Center, where strength meets compassion. The dedication ceremony draws hundreds of supporters, survivors, and advocates who recognize they're witnessing the birth of something transformative. Derek makes one final, desperate attempt at relevance through a victim-blaming podcast appearance that backfires spectacularly. His bitter complaints about reverse discrimination and fake disabled people only cement his reputation as a cautionary tale about entitled cruelty facing long overdue consequences. Maya's speaking engagement at the Portland Police Academy represents the full circle of her journey. Officers who once expected to arrest her for assault now request training on recognizing legitimate self-defense versus excessive force. The difference between a victim and a survivor, Maya tells the packed auditorium, isn't what happens to you, it's what you choose to do with what happens to you. I chose to transform pain into power, fear into preparation, isolation into inspiration. As Maya walks home through the same plaza where Derek first humiliated her, she passes the exact spot where her public nightmare began. Children play nearby while their parents watch with protective eyes that now include respect rather than pity. The scared 12-year-old who got beaten on Elm Street has become the woman who ensures other children never have to crawl home helpless and bleeding. Derek's voice still echoes from that day. Stay down where you belong. Maya's response reverberates through every life she's touched since. I belong wherever I choose to stand. 1 year after the trial that changed everything, Maya Thompson stands before a packed auditorium at Portland State University. The audience spans generations and backgrounds, young women clutching notebooks, elderly abuse survivors with tears in their eyes, parents seeking hope for their children's futures. Her autobiography, From Helpless to Fearless, A Fighter's Journey, sits atop bestseller lists, while documentary crews capture her expanding influence. The Maya Thompson Self-Defense Centers have trained over 1,000 people across 6 locations. What started as personal survival has evolved into a movement that's reshaping how society views strength, vulnerability, and the power of refusing to remain powerless. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, Maya tells the rapt audience, her voice carrying the authority of someone who's walked through fire and emerged stronger. It took me 15 years to go from helpless child to empowered protector. But every day you choose growth over fear. Every moment you refuse to accept powerlessness, you're building the person you're meant to become. The ripple effects extend far beyond martial arts training. Maya's case established legal precedent for prosecuting coordinated online harassment campaigns. District attorneys across the country cite the Thompson standard when pursuing digital stalking cases, ensuring other Derek Martinez types face real consequences for virtual cruelty. Carlos beams with pride from the front row, his gym empire now spanning 3 states. Their training methodology, combining physical techniques with psychological empowerment, has become the gold standard for trauma-informed martial arts instruction. Military veterans, domestic violence survivors, and disabled individuals flock to programs that treat strength as healing rather than aggression. Maya's family sits in the audience's center, their transformation as remarkable as her own. Diane now volunteers at the community center, teaching parents how to support children's strength building rather than restricting it. Marcus helps design accessible training equipment for disabled students, channeling his protective instincts into empowerment rather than limitation. Derek Martinez's current circumstances provide stark contrast to Maya's ascending influence. Working third shift at a warehouse outside Salem, he lives in a studio apartment paid for by his elderly parents. His attempts at social media comebacks fail miserably, as his reputation precedes him everywhere. He's become a forgotten relic of his own making while Maya's star continues rising. Similar confrontations across the country now yield different outcomes. Bullies hesitate before targeting vulnerable individuals, knowing the Maya Thompson case proved that appearances can be devastatingly deceiving. A cultural shift toward accountability has emerged, with bystanders more likely to intervene and victims more encouraged to fight back appropriately. The documentary Blind Spot: The Maya Thompson Story wins multiple film festival awards, its message resonating globally. International self-defense programs request Maya's consultation as her methodology spreads across continents. She's become the face of empowerment through preparation rather than vengeance through violence. Maya's current students include Jessica Carter, now 15 and helping teach younger children. The girl who once cowered from bullies now radiates quiet confidence that comes from knowing she can protect herself and others. Coach Maya saved my life without throwing a single punch at my bullies, Jessica tells documentary cameras. She taught me that strength isn't about hurting people. It's about refusing to be hurt. The community center's waiting list stretches to over 500 names. Maya's program has become so respected that police departments send female officers for training, domestic violence shelters require staff certification, and universities integrate her curriculum into campus safety programs. Maya's final message to the Portland State audience encapsulates everything she's learned. Skills without wisdom create dangerous people. Wisdom without skills creates vulnerable people. But when you combine both, when you transform pain into power through discipline and compassion, you become unstoppable. The applause thunders through the auditorium as Maya concludes her presentation, but her real victory isn't the standing ovation or book sales or media attention. It's the emails from students who faced their bullies, the parents whose children walked taller, the survivors who found strength they never knew they possessed. Share Maya's story with someone who needs to hear it, the narrator's voice returns for the final time. Tag a friend who's ever felt powerless. Comment below with your own journey from victim to victor. Subscribe to Black Tales Stories to follow more stories of transformation, because the best way to honor Maya's victory is to ensure it's not unique, it's universal. Remember Derek Martinez? He's still out there somewhere, probably looking for his next victim. But thanks to Maya Thompson, he'll find a lot fewer helpless targets and a lot more people ready to stand their ground. Because in the end, Maya didn't just defend herself that day in the plaza. She defended everyone who's ever been told to stay down, stay quiet, stay powerless. And that's a fight worth sharing. Number Maya knows her worth. Number defend yourself. Number from helpless to fearless.